Welcome to Beyond Borders. Today we dive deep into a crisis sweeping through Ireland's capital, where soaring numbers of migrants and asylum seekers are creating tent cities across Dublin. These tents are a stark reminder of Ireland's severe housing shortage, now coupled with a new wave of arrivals affected by recent UK immigration laws. With Brexit's impact and the housing crisis at play, can Ireland cope with this mounting pressure? Context and background: asylum applications and Brexit's influence. Ireland has seen a dramatic rise in asylum seekers, with numbers expected to top 20,000 applications this year. With a population of just 5 million, Ireland is shouldering a migration rate comparable to much larger European countries. But recent UK policies are complicating the situation even further. The UK's new Rwanda Act law allows for the deportation of unauthorized migrants to Rwanda, a decision that's creating ripples across Ireland. In response, many migrants who initially land in the UK attempt to cross into Northern Ireland, and from there, they make their way south to the Republic of Ireland. According to the Irish government, 80% of Ireland's asylum seekers this year entered the country this way, and pressure on the system is reaching new heights. Colin Murray: under the Good Friday Agreement, EU protections are retained in Northern Ireland, so any migrant reaching here has more rights than elsewhere in the UK. This has led to more crossing over into Ireland, creating complications for Irish immigration policies. Dublin's tent cities and the Mount Street encampment. In Dublin, the housing crisis is visibly on display. Tent cities have emerged in areas around the Grand Canal and the International Protection Office on Mount Street. Earlier this year, hundreds of asylum seekers were camped here without adequate shelter, cooking on the street and relying on nearby bike hire docks to charge their phones. On May 1st, Irish authorities cleared this encampment, but since then, new tents continue to appear. With a housing crisis as the backdrop, some question how long Ireland can sustain its tradition of welcoming newcomers. Housing shortages and government promises. Ireland's housing crisis predates this influx of asylum seekers. Since the early 2000s, the country's growth has far outpaced housing development, and recent economic booms have only made housing more unaffordable. When Simon Harris became Taoiseach in April, he vowed to provide 250,000 homes by the end of the decade. With over 13,800 people, including children, in homeless shelters across Ireland, finding space for asylum seekers only adds to the strain. The government's promises are ambitious, but can they be met in time to make a difference? Anti-immigration sentiment and public opinion. As pressures increase, anti-immigration sentiments are growing across Ireland. Historically known for its warm, welcoming spirit, the nation is now seeing pockets of the population demand stricter immigration laws. This shift reflects the challenges facing a country grappling with limited resources, rising housing costs, and strained public services. John Byrne: we're all for helping people in need, but our resources are stretched to the breaking point. Families here are barely making it as it is, and adding more pressure to an already bursting system just isn't feasible. It feels like the government's not listening to the people already living here. A recent survey conducted by the Irish Times found that 63% of the population now supports stricter immigration policies, a figure that shows the challenges of balancing humanitarian efforts with domestic pressures. This tension has even led to acts of resistance, with reports of arson attacks on buildings designated as future refugee shelters in certain parts of Ireland. These attacks reflect the growing divide among the public. Political leaders have also noted the changing sentiment. While Ireland's major parties have traditionally promoted inclusive policies, opposition leaders are calling for a recalibration to address the current strain on public services, affordable housing, and employment opportunities for native citizens. Fiona Hurley: we're seeing rhetoric that we haven't heard in Ireland before. People saying Ireland for the Irish or send them home. It's disheartening, but it's also a reflection of real struggles Irish citizens are facing with housing and economic insecurity. The challenges Ireland faces are indeed complex, and many feel caught between helping others and protecting their own livelihoods. In a nation where the values of openness and compassion have always been celebrated, this emerging divide between solidarity and scarcity is shaping the country's social and political future. Ripple effects of the UK's Rwanda policy and tensions with the border agreement. In an attempt to curb illegal immigration, the UK's Rwanda Act allows for deporting unauthorized migrants to Rwanda to await asylum processing. However, the Northern Ireland High Court recently suspended the act within its jurisdiction, citing potential conflicts with the Good Friday Agreement. This landmark 1998 peace accord, essential to stability in Northern Ireland, preserves open borders and EU human rights protections. The suspension means that certain EU asylum rights are still upheld in Northern Ireland, creating an unintended route for asylum seekers attempting to enter the Republic of Ireland, where deportation to Rwanda is not enforced. This legal divide has increased asylum entries into Ireland, with Irish officials now reporting that 80% of asylum seekers enter from Northern Ireland. Justice Minister Helen McEntee noted that over 6,000 migrants have crossed from the north to the Republic this year alone, underscoring the logistical and political difficulties the open border poses post-Brexit. In light of this, Irish officials have revisited a 2020 bilateral agreement, hoping it could enforce returns of unauthorized migrants to the UK. However, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has pushed back, arguing that the agreement only regulates procedural protocols, not any legally binding obligations for repatriation. This dispute underscores the deep complexities Brexit introduced to Ireland's border security. Historically, the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic remains seamless under EU regulations. Brexit introduced the need for new agreements, yet preserving an open border was paramount to the Good Friday Agreement. Northern Ireland's unique position, still subject to certain EU laws while being part of the UK, has led to ongoing friction and legal ambiguity. For Ireland, these complications are manifesting in challenges managing asylum claims, especially given the strained resources and public concerns around housing shortages and service limitations. Ukraine's impact on Ireland's immigration and housing system. Since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Ireland has opened its doors to more than 100,000 Ukrainian refugees, offering a safe haven under an EU temporary protection directive. This humanitarian effort is a proud moment for Ireland, yet it also brings new challenges. While Ukrainian refugees are processed separately from traditional asylum seekers, their numbers have placed additional strain on an already overstretched housing and support system. As shelters reach capacity, the government has turned to creative solutions, including converting hotels, community centers, and even sports halls into temporary accommodations. However, the demand far outstrips supply. Ireland's housing crisis has left over 13,000 of its citizens homeless, a figure that continues to grow as housing options become scarcer. Taoiseach Simon Harris: we remain committed to supporting our Ukrainian neighbors in this difficult time, and I want to reassure the people of Ireland that we are working tirelessly to address the housing challenges. This includes ambitious plans to create 250,000 new homes by the end of the decade, a commitment we believe is critical to stabilizing our housing system for all. Yet even with these ambitious plans, the reality remains stark. With the continued influx of Ukrainian refugees alongside asylum seekers from countries like Nigeria, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, Ireland's resources are stretched thin. Ireland's response to this complex crisis will define its future. Can it navigate these challenges and stay true to its legacy of hospitality? Or, in the face of economic and social strain, will Ireland's openness give way to exclusion? Tuning in to BeyondBorder. If you found this video informative and want to stay updated on global issues like immigration, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring you the latest news and in-depth analysis from around the world. Turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest content. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.